Just so everyone's aware, there will be absolutely zero nepotism happening here, and Sean Gunn will not be taking any roles of any Cinefanatics members.
Welcome to the Tagline. It is Wednesday night. That means it is time for the Tagline here on the Cinefanatics. My name is Robert Adams.
I am Chris Adams.
And yeah, we got a lot to talk about. So let's get through all this stuff right off the bat. First thing, thank you for watching. Everyone who's watching live, if you're watching this on a replay, we very much appreciate it. Go ahead and hit that like button while we're talking about it right now. So I'm jolting that what's it called? Reminder. That's the word. Jolting that reminder, hit that like button and hit subscribe. So we're closing in on that 2,000 subscribers. We got a couple of weeks left in this year. I would love to hit 2,000 before the end of 2023. At least give me one good thing to come out of this year, please. Thank you. I very much appreciate that. Otherwise, yeah, again, very much appreciate everyone who's here. Let's do the YouTube things real quick. Streamlabs.com/Cinefanatics. If you have any questions, comments, issues, complaints, you want to keep the roof over our head, the lights on up here and whatnot, Streamlabs is a great place to do that. Also, patreon.com/Cinefanatics. If you feel like we are worthy of your support monthly and you have the means to afford it, please hop on the tier that's good for you. There's a $1, there's a $5. Hop on one of those two tiers and come join us for everything that we're doing on Patreon. Speaking of which, tonight we will be doing our monthly movie trivia hangout. It's right after Tagline tonight. So what was it? This is going to be roughly about an hour. So at 8 Pacific, 11 Eastern, we will be over on our Discord. So if you are at the $5 tier on our Patreon, you can come join us on the Discord in the voice chat. We will be playing some good old-fashioned movie trivia. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy doing these every month. If I had the time, I would love to do it more than once a month, but whoo, lot to do constantly. So that is tonight. If you've never joined us, maybe contemplate joining us tonight. We had a nice full house last month, so hope to see that again tonight because it was a lot of fun. So $5 tier gets you there. $1 gets you access to our Discord. One of the benefits on the Discord, even at the $1 tier, is you get to see the list of movies that we're ranking for the marquee. Speaking of which, the marquee is coming up this coming Friday, the 15th. We are tier ranking the Christmas specials that we all grew up watching every year. So everything from Rudolph to Frosty to Garfield, the Grinch, the Muppets, maybe a couple of claymations and some Rankin Bass, and even some Guardians of the Galaxy should be in there. So that is going to be this coming Friday live at 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern, right here on this channel, right here for your viewing enjoyment. So come join us. I believe we're going to have it set up where they can also vote as well.
Very likely.
Okay. So yeah, come join us live for that. One other thing on Patreon, at the $5 tier, you can also join us for monthly movie watch-alongs. That is not easy to say. Monthly movie watch-alongs. That will be happening on the 27th of this month. So after Christmas, but before New Year's, that Wednesday, after Tagline. Also, very likely, that will probably be the last Tagline. I was going to say, that will be the last Tagline of the year. Well, no, that will be the last Tagline before we take our break. So we'll be taking a break probably for a couple of weeks or so after the 27th. So that'll be our last Tagline and the last Patreon hangout for this month. So anyways, come join us for that. Don't know exactly what movie. I feel like we're probably going to do whatever's next as far as Marvel movies, which I believe is Civil War.
Those of you guys who are joining us for a trivia tonight, you can help us also decide what movie you might want to do a watch along with us on the 27th. So yeah, we're gonna take some ideas from you guys.
There's another perk to being a part of the Patreon at the $5 tier. So come join us for that. Let's see. Christmas specials coming up on Marquee. That's on this Friday live. Movies watched. So for me, I guess real quick, the only new movies I've watched were I watched Monster, that Charlize Theron movie, which was actually pretty good. I think she did a phenomenal job at that. No wonder she got the Oscar. Christina Ricci also did really good. There were so many times I had to remind myself that was Christina Ricci and not like some actual like kind of naive little girl. But yeah, really good movie. And then I did watch Killers of the Flower Moon. Now that we are heading into award season, which we'll talk about some more here in a little bit, I spent what feels like half of the day yesterday watching Killers of the Flower Moon because I have really bad ADHD. And so I have to pause the movie and step away, talk to my brother about things for a bit, and then come back to the movie. So it took all night to get through that. But that's actually also the reason why I wasn't really keen on wanting to see it in the theaters, because for some reason they don't allow me to pause the movie on the big screen. I don't know why.
But also the movie is like what, nearly 4 hours or something like that?
It's 3.5 hours long.
Yeah. So it's already a sizable movie to begin with. That on top of that, the need to frequently pause in order to process and push through it. So
it is a good movie.
It's a 6-hour affair.
Yeah. I compare it to The Irishman. That is also a very long movie, but it's movies that are made up what I feel like of like individual segments that have like a little bit of a thread that leads you from one scene to the next, so to speak. The best comparison I can have with this, still sticking with Scorsese, is Wolf of Wall Street. Those of you familiar with Wolf of Wall Street, one particular scene in that I absolutely love is the expired Quaaludes scene. That scene alone could have been its own movie. That is like my favorite scene in that entire movie. And yeah, it's just that one little scene, and then we have like some like little bit of transition to the next scene. That's what I feel like Irishman and Killers of the Flower Moon were. So it's very easy to be able to understand where like the scenes of focus are, and then when you're in those transitional parts, that would be where I'd recommend like pause, or if you're in the theater, still go to the bathroom during those as it leads to the next scene. But yeah, highly recommend Killers of the Flower Moon. Fantastic movie, and I highly recommend, or I will very much appreciate a push for Lily Gladstone to get the nominations for that, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Otherwise, yeah, the only other movie I saw was the movie that was challenged to me last week, which was Elemental. Not sure who challenged me that, but it was actually a decent movie.
Somebody with good taste, I believe.
Yeah, probably. There's a lot of that movie that they did not show in the trailer, and for good reason. Especially given the current outlook of, like, say, film Twitter or just social media opinions in general. I'm actually surprised I didn't see this blow up more on social media, given the actual subject matter of that movie. But I thought it was very well done, and I would love to see more movies that are of this ilk, of this kind, like a really good social political message buried inside a cute little fun Pixar movie. So I know, Chris, you were the one who actually recommended it because we didn't get anyone to respond in the chat. But yeah, you really like this movie as well.
Yeah, it's really good. Elemental is, again, Pixar just doing its Pixar-y thing. They are consistently fantastic at what they do, give or take a couple movies here and there, but for the most part, you can generally count on Pixar to give you a quality movie, and Elemental is a very quality movie. I am very, very shocked at how little buzz it generated during its earlier time. Obviously, it had legs that lasted for quite a while. People started picking up on it a little bit later into its box office life, but as far as the movie goes, I mean, I think you get a lot of hits on it now on Disney Plus, but other than that, it's a really solid movie.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, that's all I've seen brand new for this past week. What have you watched?
So I watched one movie this last week. Forgot last week to say there was another movie that I watched for the week last week, and that was Good Burger 2. Which the only thing I will say about Good Burger 2 is if you like the first Good Burger movie, you'll probably like the second Good Burger movie. It is very much more of the same kind of Keenan and Kel shtick. So it's a nice little blast from the past, kind of fun to play around with. It's by no means an Oscar winner. I don't think anyone's sitting there asking for this movie to be more than what it actually is. but what it is perfectly fine.
What do you mean a Kenan and Kel flick is not going to win the highest award in movies?
Listen,
come on,
don't doubt them. I'm sure
What's
they could
wrong
probably
with the Academy here.
They could probably pull something out. I'm sure. Anyway, yeah, Good Burger 2. The only thing about Good Burger 2 is be prepared for absolutely every scene of the movie to feature somebody who is popular in some form or fashion for something. Not even just actors and actresses making cameos. We've got folks like Mark Cuban and the streamer Kai Cenat.
Who?
You wouldn't know him, but people who know all the streaming culture probably would.
The only streamers I know are the ones that you've shown me because of Fortnite.
There you go.
Including one who like lives here.
You sound like a dad. Thanks for showing me those streamers, son.
Thanks for showing me the streamers, son.
I appreciate
I'm now interested in streaming culture.
I appreciate knowing what you're into, my boy.
I like watching the Cypher PK.
Yeah. Anyway,
what's the PK stand for? Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, Good Burger 2 is filled with all kinds of cameos and stuff. It's a lot of fun. And the other one I watched, I believe it was recommended to me by Lego. I believe Lego put it in there. I'm not 100% certain if she did it seriously or not. But either way, I watched Bloodsport.
She was trying to recommend either Bloodsport or Kickboxer, whichever one, I guess, stuck.
Well, the word Bloodsport came across the screen first, so that's the one I went with. And, here's the thing. It's not filled with good acting by any means. There's a couple people who do a decent enough job for the movie, but it's not filled with like there's a whole bit of young Jean-Claude Van Damme, like his character, like as a kid, and whoever that actor was as a kid probably should find another profession. And probably did.
You're criticizing a movie that came out like around the same time that you were born.
Yeah, I know. I am.
That kid is probably grown up and very likely has moved on
to another profession. But what I'm saying is that there's a lot of acting in the movie that's kind of a little questionable. But here's the thing: you don't go to a movie like Bloodsport starring Jean-Claude Van Damme
and expect Macbeth
for a world-renowned class on acting. You go for the fun mixed martial arts type elements, and obviously Jean-Claude Van Damme does that in spades. And it's a fine enough movie. Honestly, it's a really solid movie of its sub genre, which is the 80s or 90s fighting tournament movie, which there's plenty of those to go around.
I feel like this is a movie that was made because of the popularity from like Rocky, and then it just carried on through the 80s, much like Halloween really started like the slasher genre, and that came in with like Friday the 13th and a whole slew of other like holiday based slasher movies throughout the 80s. I feel like this is in that same kind of vein. Yeah. Also made very popular by Karate Kid.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely fits in that mold, and it, in its lane, in its place, it's a good movie. It's obviously it's not going to be one that I would run back to time and time again with like fond memories of like, this is such a great movie. I need a comfort movie this week. I'm going to put on Bloodsport again. No. But it was for what it was. It was good. If that sentence makes any sense to you, for what it was good.
So real quick, just to make you feel absolutely terrible, the kid that played the younger Van Damme, Pierre Raffini, this actually was his only film role ever.
I'm not surprised. Now, next you're going to tell... when you said you feel terrible and you started saying that, I was like, oh, he died immediately after this movie. And I would have been like, oh, damn. Oh, damn.
So here's the thing. Being very realistic, with this being his only film role and he's not someone who's well-known, maybe.
We don't know.
That could have happened. We don't know. He wasn't popular enough for that to be like spread throughout like the industry. Like say Andre Braugher, rest in peace. Very much loved that actor. Glory, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, great actor.
Yeah, that one hurt. That one sucked.
Yeah.
But no, like this kid from Bloodsport probably went on to go run Carl's Jr. chains throughout the greater Arizona area.
He's probably a vet. A lot of them become vets.
Or yeah, it also is a vet on the side.
I say that, but there's only one actor I know who was like a kid actor who became a vet, and that was Peter Ostrom from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory from the 70s. The kid who played Charlie. He grew up to become a veterinarian.
Yeah.
Weird thing to know off the top of your head. Like, there's absolutely no way that will ever come up ever again, probably in my entire life. So glad I was finally able to use that somewhere.
Yep. Anyway, it's fine. It's a fine movie. That's what I'm getting at.
So, yeah, and what I was telling you before is, like, wait a couple of years before you watch Kickboxer. That way you're able to actually determine the difference between the two movies.
If I have to wait a couple of years, I will completely forget about ever watching Kickboxer.
Yeah. So, for me, I saw both Bloodsport and Kickboxer within, like, 2 or 3 nights apart back in 2003. So, both of those movies are essentially the same exact movie to me.
Yeah.
So I need to rewatch both of them. I do remember them both being pretty good.
All right, let's do some movie news.
Well, real quick. So we're not doing the recommend a movie this week, mainly because there's a lot of other movies. Like for me, I know there's a couple of movies I want to catch up on anyways, like say Color Purple. I want to watch the original before the new one comes out. Never seen The Color Purple, so I'm going to watch that. So,
I think we actually can still do the recommended movies, and I think what we should do is we should just recommend movies to each other.
But I don't want to do any...
Color Purple. You're watching The Color Purple.
Cool. You're watching The Color Purple also. You haven't seen it either.
Gosh darn it, there we go. We got it figured out, folks. We're both watching The Color Purple this week.
So expect next week we're going to be talking about the original Color Purple in anticipation for the new Color Purple that's coming out. That being said, I don't know how feasible it's going to be for us to get to the theater to see the new Color Purple this month. Again, finances are a little tight right now, so we'll see. There is a plan, real quick. I should have mentioned this earlier. We do have planned to go see Wonka probably on Saturday. So expect the usual like spoiler-free review for Wonka and the out of the theater reaction on like late Saturday evening.
I love the idea that it's a spoiler-free. Spoilers, he creates a chocolate factory and eventually someday down the road gives it to a kid.
Gives it to Charlie Bucket, yeah. Spoilers.
Spoilers.
The Oompa Loompas figure out how to sing a song for each individual kid that offs himself while touring the chocolate factory. It's weird. Yeah.
We don't know that.
So in the
that
book...
was such a dark way to say that. Good Lord.
In the book and the Johnny Depp movie, they actually do show them still alive. But in the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory with Gene Wilder, it's left wondering whether or not the kids actually do survive. Kind of weird.
Yeah, so Color Purple, and then we're gonna watch
Purple.
Wonka. We'll probably go see Aquaman. That's your movies for this month. Let's talk about the box office.
So, real quick. So yeah, we'll do the review on Saturday. Sunday, I'm planning on doing the short ranking where I'm going to rank all 3 Wonka movies. So be on the lookout for that. Watch that. Give it a thumbs up. Share it. That'd be great. Thank you for helping the channel.
Yes.
Anyways, yeah, let's get into movie news.
Ladies and gentlemen,
good evening. This is what's happening in your world tonight.
We apologize for the interruption.
back to you.
All right, we got to keep this nice and tight. Run through the box office real quick. Your top 10. We'll pull out one interesting news story here, but the number 1 right now is actually The Boy and the Heron, which is actually a really cool number 1 to be sitting in the box office.
Interesting.
At about 13 million, pretty solid number 1 movie.
Has there ever been a Studio Ghibli movie that got number 1?
That is a question that I cannot answer for you right now.
What, you don't know all Studio Ghibli films off the top of your head and their position within the pantheon of existence?
And box office returns?
And
absolutely
box
not.
office. Yeah.
Not off the top of my head, not at the moment.
Why not?
We're doing well keeping this tight. Number 2, we got The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, sitting with another $9 million coming in. Was actually number 4 last week, bumped up to number 2 this week, which is actually quite impressive. Number 3, staying at number 3 from last week, is Godzilla -1. That has an extended stay now here in America, so your domestic box office is going to see that rise pretty solidly here. Number 4 is Trolls Band Together. Number 5, an interesting drop from the number 1 position last year, is Renaissance, a film by Beyonce. So if we're talking about, and this is the news story I wanted to kind of pull out here, if we're talking about the war between the Beyonce concert film and the Taylor Swift concert film, Taylor Swift is winning this one currently.
Yeah, but Beyonce had the best concert film of the whole year.
Maybe not according to box office, but, you know, depending on who you ask, maybe so. Number 6 movie is Wish. Number 7 is Napoleon. Number 8 is a new release this week, is actually Waitress the Musical, being released into theaters. And then number 9, we've got Animal, and number 10, The Shift. I don't know what Animal is, but it's there.
Is that Rob Schneider movie?
I think it's a different movie.
Rob Schneider is the stapler.
Oh, gosh. Anyway, there you go. There's your top 10.
Anyways, moving on to some quickie news. I want to get through like some of these like smaller news stories because we got a lot to talk about as far as like the awards, nominations, and stuff that's coming up. So real quick, it was announced that they are going to make a Saw 11. Saw X or Saw 10, however you want to call it, was successful enough, and rightly so. It was a really good Saw movie. It's one of the best Saw movies of the entire franchise, in my opinion, and most people's opinion, seemingly. So it does make sense that they want to continue with this. I don't know where exactly they're going to go because Tobin Bell is getting old, and it is going to be a lot harder as he continues to get older for them to continue to do a movie where he's still alive. Spoilers, if y'all aren't familiar with the Saw franchise, he effectively did die at the end of Saw 3. Yet they continued him being a part of the Saw franchise through flashbacks. That doesn't work when the actor himself is still aging, much like what they're going to be dealing with when they go to film the next season of Stranger Things. All those kids are damn near in their 30s playing teenagers, which seemingly, according to Hollywood, would be appropriate. So go figure.
My only opinion that I want to throw in here about Saw real quick is that I want to make sure everyone knows, and I'm highlighting that Saw 3D, aka Saw 7, aka Saw the final chapter, happened what's going to be going on now 4 movies ago. Cool.
Yes.
The final chapter.
Chris, welcome to the world of horror movie franchises. There have been so many of those.
Okay, that's fine. But don't call it the final one. Just never call it the final one. Halloween Ends. That's the most recent one. No, it's not. There's going to be another Halloween movie at some point.
Oh yeah. There was Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, Freddy's Dead.
Stop it.
Yeah.
You're not fooling anybody.
Horror movie franchises do this all the time. So yeah.
The only horror movie franchise that's officially done is Scream.
Ouch. That was good. Anyways, so yeah, that's it for Saw 11. Looking forward to that. Hopefully they do still keep in the same vein as Saw X, because I absolutely adored that movie. I thought it was great. One of the top, I think it was in my top 3 or 4 from Fantastic Fest. So moving on, this is kind of news that we already knew, that Nicholas Hoult was being courted to play Lex Luthor in the new DC universe that James Gunn is doing. James Gunn has come out this past week and actually confirmed 100% that yes, Nicholas Hoult is playing Lex Luthor. Great choice. I support this decision, and this is just another notch towards basically being able to look at James Gunn much like we do with Kevin Feige, and like he knows what he's doing, even if he does hire his own brother to be in his movies as well.
And this is
blame him.
All this is happening in accordance to the notion that WB isn't filing for bankruptcy next month and completely shuttering.
If Zaslav doesn't run it into the ground.
This is actually absolutely a race between who can run their company into the ground faster. Is it David Zaslav or Elon Musk?
Oh, yeah. It was like a recall of like every single Tesla vehicle that they ever made.
Oh, I was talking about Twitter.
Oh, no, you didn't see did you see the one I'm talking about?
We don't have time for me to see it.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, whatever. As far as the whole nepotism thing, I know like Zachary Levi quoted it on Twitter and whatnot. I would like to give a good full opinion here. If either me or my brother somehow find our way to making a movie, you could pretty much count on that we're going to cast the other one of us in the movie as well, somewhere, somehow, someone. Why not? It's fun.
Yeah, that'll definitely happen.
Why do I not believe you?
Oh.
That's your problem. Move on. Next news story real quick. They're gonna, who's this? Is this Mattel? Is going to make a movie based off the American Girl doll series.
Fresh off the heels of Barbie, we're gonna make an American Girl doll movie.
Which tells me if you're a toy company that makes dolls, now's your time to make a movie about that doll. So
I believe they're working on Polly Pocket still.
So yeah, there's a Polly Pocket coming out, and then whatever the dolls were that would actually like use the bathroom that you could potty train or whatever.
No.
Can't wait for that one.
No, I don't know about that one.
It's like Debbie Weddy doll or something. I don't know.
Listen, this is dope if the direction they go with it is another existential drama like Barbie was. Granted, I know Barbie was comedy too, but do that, and Mattel will now be known as the company that does existential crisis movies for all of their toys, and I'm on board with that being the theme for all Mattel movies.
I just thought of like a really cool idea, and hear me out. I think this is a very good idea. Make a movie about the My Buddy doll, but make it a horror film. That would sell, right? Wouldn't it? Could you just imagine what that would look like? You could even call it something like Child's Play.
I like what Nerd said here. There are at least actual source material for the American Girl dolls. That is true. And honestly, I'm not joking when I say that the movie could be an existential drama of some sort, because the trauma that all of these girl dolls went through.
I think we're burying the lead here. How are you so up to date on American Girl doll lore?
Who, me or Nerd?
You. And Nerd.
Did you watch that SNL sketch?
Yeah, it was creepy as hell.
Yeah. That SNL sketch is becoming reality.
Ooh. That's gonna be terrible.
Yeah, there's a lot of those dolls just have traumatic backgrounds. And I think that they're meant to be relatable to little girls of all ages and creeds and origins. So,
who was the guest on that American Girl doll sketch?
Oh, I can't remember.
Was that John Cena?
It might be.
I think it was John Cena, something like that. Just someone just really off the wall and weird.
He's already been in Barbie, so you know.
Makes sense. There's your connection to the Barbie universe. How we get Barbie in the American Girl movie.
I joke, but I'm not joking. The movie probably will be another like
existential,
traumatic, relatable trauma movie of some sort. And hey, if it's good, it's good. Yeah. I just can't wait to see what Hot Wheels does.
They're gonna copycat whatever Fortnite's doing with their car racing game now.
How many Fortnite references are you gonna make?
That's what, 2 or 3 tonight. Let's talk about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I actively play that game, and I don't make this many references.
I'm in my 40s. I gotta stay cool with the kids.
Hello, fellow kids.
Hello, fellow kids. Yeah. Cue the
Steve Buscemi gif.
Why is it I'm blanking on his name?
I just said it.
Yeah, thank you. See, that's why we're really good brothers and we work well together. Anyways, next piece of movie news. This one's actually really cool, and I really like this. It was announced today that Dwayne Johnson is going to be in an A24 movie directed by Benny Safdie.
Yep, sold.
Pretty much. Those of y'all that may not be familiar with the Safdie brothers and their work, they do good stuff. They do really good stuff if you don't mind going to a movie theater and having a panic attack. They do outstanding work. Uncut Gems was a gem of a movie, but yeah, you are anxiety ridden the entire time you're watching that movie. What was the other one that they did? Was that Good Times?
Good Time.
Same thing. that movie was all like anxiety ridden as well. Not exactly the same way as Uncut Gems. I think Uncut Gems amped it up a lot more than Good Times did.
Uncut Gems dealt with a scene where pretty much everybody was talking over each other the entire movie. The entire movie is people just trying to talk over each other, and it's a lot. It's a lot to get into. Good Time didn't necessarily have that. It was just situations that were kind of like, I would say Good Time was a little bit more like edge of your seat type situation, kind of anxiety than it would be otherwise.
Yeah. So I'm kind of curious to see what The Rock is going to do in potentially that same kind of genre.
I'm already excited for this. I'm already ready to see it, because I want to see, like, I know Dwayne Johnson's done like some serious work before. I haven't caught too much of it. Usually the work that I've caught from Dwayne Johnson has been the wider net type genre comedies, all that kind of stuff. You know, your Jumanji, your Central Intelligence, Black Adam, all that kind of stuff.
But yeah, I want to see him in a role like this where he may be like spending the entire movie working off of a panic attack.
Yeah.
Type of thing. I think that would be an interesting scenario to put him in. And even though I just said John Cena, I kind of would like to see John Cena in something like that too. John Cena is a lot more goofy to me. Like, I don't think I can ever really take anything he's doing as serious. He just has a goofy looking face whenever I can see it. And the most serious I've seen him is in the Fast and the Furious movies until this last one, where he was like a goofy babysitter, much like Jason Statham did when he was in the Fast and the Furious movies.
You have your serious movie, and then you have your I'm going to play with the family's kids.
Like, they're the super serious villain that's like furrowed brow and like talking trash the entire time. And then the next movie, they're babysitting. They're like, goo goo gaga, oochie coochie cuckoo. Like that kind of thing. And it's really weird.
That's going to keep me up tonight.
So that's going to get clipped out.
No, that's going to keep me awake all night. Anyway, yeah, I'm down for
oochie coochie goo goo gaga.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah, I'm anxious to see this movie. I don't know if that's exactly what they're going to do, but I mean, they're 2 for 2 already on like high anxiety type movies. So I feel like we could logically assume that they're going to put Dwayne Johnson into some kind of situation that's very similar to that as well.
Yeah.
And I want to see him fight his way out of it. Should be a lot of fun. Let's get to our main topic. There's a lot to talk about in regards to the awards. This is award season. Much like I've said on Twitter, I absolutely love award season because it tells me the direction of the movie industry and what movies I should be paying attention to as we get closer and closer to the Oscars. Typically, the Golden Globes is like a good foresight, I guess, as to what the Oscars, what the Academy may be paying attention to, may be looking at, and may want to acknowledge. So it's a good way to see like a good shortened list of movies by someone who's somewhat professional and be able to catch up on those movies before the Oscar nominations get announced. So I love this time of year because I always seem to find like a gem. For example, Coda. I don't think either one of us knew of, or we may have heard of Coda. And then when it was announced as a nomination and we watched it, oh my God, that movie just jumped to I think it was number 2 or 3 of that year. There was one other movie that came out that I liked just a wee bit more, but I love Coda. Oh, I think it was the same year as Tick, Tick, Boom.
Yeah.
Which, I'm going to be honest, that's a hard battle in my opinion. Coda and Tick, Tick, Boom were both phenomenal movies. So, so I like this time of year. So I'm eager when nominations come out. So we got the Golden Globe nominations this past Monday. Today we got the Critics' Choice nominations as well. So I kind of want to talk about this. Critics' Choice, I'm not going to say too much about because it's not a huge major focus generally. Usually most eyes are going to be on the Golden Globes. And then, like I was saying, that's kind of like what is the prelude to the Oscars.
Yeah.
But the thing about this is Critics' Choice is made up, the voting body of the Critics' Choice is made up of critics, hence the name. It's about 600 critics and journalists that get to vote on that. So this is the time of year where no matter how you feel about critics and their terrible opinions and Rotten Tomato scores throughout the year, this is where they actually get to shine and really leverage in a journalist degree or film degree that they got and give their full solid opinion as to what movies we should actually be looking at and watching and honoring due to whatever technical achievements or acting achievements they have. And I kind of like that. I don't know, like I wouldn't necessarily call the two of us critics because we don't have the credentials for that. I would almost like barely even call us pundits at this point. I think we're just fans of movies and like to talk about them and give our personal opinion without like any real bias or like not holding anyone else to our opinion.
I don't know who really defines these things. I believe in the dress for the job you want, not for the job you have. So yes, we are absolutely critics. Whether we are great at it or not remains to be seen, but we can be critical of art.
That being said, this is also a good time. I feel like we've talked about this publicly before, but I'll go ahead and mention it again now. One of the plans that I have for 2024 is we're going to do the Cinefanatics Awards. So as I believe we're going to probably do it when we get closer to the Oscars. So we have enough time to be able to watch all these movies and really give a good, honest opinion of what we think should win.
There you go. This is 100% something we're going to do now.
Well, I mean, we've been talking about this since the Oscars earlier this year.
We have?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
That's how that feels to forget something.
I didn't forget anything, but sounds good, man. We'll do it. We're doing it. It's happening.
Yeah. So we're going to do the Cinefanatics Awards. I've got ideas of how we're going to do that. That will be something that we will bring up a little bit later, but I'm just putting it out there. We're going to, just between the two of us, we're going to weigh in on what we think should be honored, at least on this channel. It's nothing that we're going to hold anyone else to. You don't have to agree with us, but between the two of us, it's what we believe we would give the achievement for if we were in charge of an award show. So that will be coming probably in March, April. Again, as we get closer to the Oscars, expect that to come from us. We'll give you an update on that probably sometime next month, maybe. We'll see. Anyways, so yeah, Critics' Choice is made up of 600 critics and journalists. So those nominations were announced today. And then there's the Golden Globes. Golden Globes is a little bit interesting because up until June or July of this year, the Golden Globes were actually owned and controlled by the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. This has been disbanded as of this year. It was disbanded because there was just way too much controversy, especially stemming off of the Golden Globes last year, specifically surrounding everything involving The Whale and Brendan Fraser. For those of y'all not familiar, Brendan Fraser did step out of the spotlight due to issues, and some of those issues did come from the Hollywood Foreign Press or the president of the Hollywood Foreign Press at that time. There were allegations. I don't know what actually has been confirmed, but I'm still going to refer to them as allegations right now. Nothing substantial as far as I remember. But that's one of the things that really got the ball rolling on this. There was other controversies, namely like the amount of nominations the Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie movie, The Tourist, got back in 2013, where no one really liked that movie, but it got a lot of nominations seemingly just so they could invite Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie to their ceremony, which meant more people are going to watch their show. So stuff like that it was really rubbing people the wrong way, leaving a bad taste in their mouth, whatever euphemism you want to say for it. But therefore it caused the Hollywood Foreign Press to get disbanded. The Golden Globes were purchased by a billionaire, Todd Boehly, who owns Eldridge Industries, which is a co-owner of Dick Clark Productions. So Dick Clark Productions also did the Dick Clark New Year's Eve So they are now in charge of the Golden Globes. One of the changes from this is before it was 103 members of the Hollywood Foreign Press that got to vote for these movies. And I believe there was also a controversy that whether or not it was possible for these members to be bought out, basically turning them into the shills that everyone who talks about movies on Twitter must be a shill if they like the movie. That's basically what they were doing with these people, allegedly. One of the things that Todd Boehly has done is he's got a voting group of 300 people who are actual employees. They are getting paid. The Hollywood Foreign Press did not pay the 103 voting members. They just would watch movies and vote of their own free will. Now, it's 300 employees who vote for these movies, which means that they're salaried, which means they could be fired. So it eliminates essentially the need for shilling to happen. These are people who are being paid for their opinions. So that might help this a little bit more. There's still some controversies, especially as we get into these nominations, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. But yeah, hopefully the Golden Globes is going to start in a direction where there's a lot less controversy and a lot more, what's that called? When you appreciate, like, I guess kind of like what the Academy and the Oscars are, the prestige that award show should deserve as an award show.
Prestige is doing a lot of heavy lifting there, because I think at the end of the day, we're talking about what is the need for the Golden Globes to exist when other award shows like Oscars and Emmys do kind of all of the same thing. But then the question is, how many different award shows, I say shows in quotes because they're not necessarily televised or produced in front of a live audience in any kind of a way, but there's a ton of different awards awarded to people in the movie industry, and so there's a lot of overlap. So the question is, and I think the question for a lot of people, especially recently, has been, what is the point of the Golden Globes in general, especially now that the Hollywood Foreign Press isn't the one running it, and their reason for existing is whatever it was the Hollywood Foreign Press as a whole was doing. Mm-hmm. Now it's what is the backing and reason for the Golden Globes to actually exist?
Or to narrow it down even more, like I said, it's now left up to 300 employees. Why do I care what these employees care about? Why does their opinion matter for what's, I feel like quite possibly the second biggest award show that's publicly known for movies? Yeah. Like you've got the Oscars and then the Golden Globes is like right behind it. So why do I care what these people think? Where's their credentials?
Yeah, it's an interesting direction that they're moving into with this, and yeah, it'd be interesting to see where they go, what they do, and what level of prestige they can give the award now.
Mm-hmm. So let's jump into these nominations real quick. Kind of want to run through these. I'm going to highlight more of the Golden Globes, and I will talk about the Critics' Choice here, because there's definitely, if you've been watching Twitter ever since Monday, there's definitely some drawbacks to the Golden Globes nominations when they announced them. So let's run through these and see what they actually got. So I'm starting at the top here. Best Motion Picture for Drama. We're looking at Anatomy of a Fall, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, and The Zone of Interest. I'll be honest, there's a couple of these that I haven't even heard of so far. Which, again, this is why I like award season, because they spotlight these movies that we haven't heard of, that haven't been big and mainstream. And if we see a lot more focus on these kinds of movies, it's what's going to pique my interest to want to go watch these movies.
Past Lives is one of those that I really want to see, because it's gotten a lot of good buzz amongst various parts of the film Twitter side of things. A lot of people really like that one. Obviously Maestro kind of want to see too, because of the Bradley Cooper of it all, but
okay. Yeah, Past Lives. That looks interesting. Yeah, Maestro, I've heard a lot of people talking about that lately. I don't know Zone of Interest. I'm not sure what this is.
It is It's a movie that is
German. Yeah, German movie.
Yeah, it's not a domestic release movie.
Film centers on Auschwitz commandant Rudolf Hals and his wife as they strive to build a dream life next to the concentration camp. Well, that just sounds like just an intriguing, entertaining movie. Let me tell you, right?
It does sound quite delightful, doesn't it? It sounds like one that's going to be a difficult watch, but will also be probably a pretty decent watch.
Not that I'm trying to actually compare it, but just for conversational sake, this is going to be a movie I feel like is going to be a lot like Schindler's List, where it's a movie of that time period, talking about World War II, concentration camps, and stuff like that. And it's a movie that you'll probably watch once and you'll never watch it again.
But it'll sit with you.
It'll sit with you, yeah. Like I remember Schindler's List. I don't know if anyone else, I feel like I've heard this joked about a lot, but Schindler's List is one of those, I feel like that every single one of us was probably forced to watch it like in high school and do some kind of a report on. You didn't, we had to do that. We had to do it because it was one of those times where they played Schindler's List on broadcast network TV unedited. So like language and nudity and stuff was all there. I don't even think they cut for commercials, or if they did, they cut for commercials like once during the entire broadcast of it. And that's saying something with a movie like that, especially when they're okay with airing it unedited. So if you complain to the FCC, too bad. This is something that actually happened, and that's a really good way of you never see inside the concentration camp itself as their home is blocked from his view. See, there's all kinds of like stuff that you could derive from that. Like
that's interesting.
We understand that what we're doing is extremely terrible, and we don't want to have to face that during our normal day-to-day life.
That's interesting.
Like, if you know you're doing bad, then why are you doing it? Like that, it's an amazing idea that like I think that could make for an intriguing movie as far as like a human think piece.
There's definitely like a metaphor there.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah,
that actually intrigues me. This one, of course, I think the heavy-handed. Are we talking about like who we think wins these? Is that what we're going with here?
Well, so the problem with this is specifically out of this category so far, I have seen 2 movies and you've seen 1.
Yeah, but the one that I saw, I'm pretty sure is the favored to win right now, and that would be Oppenheimer.
I mean, in all honesty, from what I've heard, read, or whatever, I would say it's probably between Oppenheimer and Killers of the Flower Moon, and I also would probably lean more towards Oppenheimer. Although, again, Killers of the Flower Moon, really good movie, very well done. So you can't ever count out Scorsese. But yeah, this is Nolan's year for that. Musical or comedy, we got Air, American Fiction, Barbie, The Holdovers, May, December, and Poor Things. So the first thing with this is all of Twitter has blown up on this category specifically because of May, December. I haven't seen, first of all, neither of us have seen May, December. I don't even know exactly what it's about, but I haven't seen anywhere on the internet where May, December has been considered a comedic movie. And all I've seen is people who have seen May, December are like, why is this considered comedy? Like there's a couple of jokes in it, but there's a couple of jokes in almost every movie because us as human beings are prone to make a joke if we think something is funny. So that's fine, but it doesn't look like it's actually a comedic movie.
It's the same situation that we infamously know that The Martian was in, where The Martian is technically a drama film, but because the trailer gave off like the levity moments of the movie, I wouldn't even say it's because the trailer did it, but we know that the trailer gave off some of those moments that we also are hyper aware of the comedic lines and moments that did occur in The Martian. And so we play that back in our heads when we think about, oh, it got the comedy category. In reality, the movie was very much a solid drama. And I think it's going to be the same situation here.
There was some good comedy in The Martian, though. Him complaining about the only music he gets to listen to is disco was hilarious.
Part of it is because it's presented sort of like a trashy airplane novel. Yeah, so
interesting.
So it's definitely one of those things. So I think what they do is they have like films that are definitely drama, but are lighter drama in comparison to the other dramas. Like if you look on this list, if knowing what I know about May December, it's Natalie Portman and I believe Julianne Moore.
Yeah.
You take those, you take what the story is about, briefly reading on the plot and everything, and you compare it to literally anything that's on this drama list. And I would say there's definitely a difference between May December and anything else on the drama side of the Golden Globe list. So you can kind of see that, you see why this is a situation with the Globes where they tend to try to push for certain movies or actors to be in certain categories. And I can see why they would push this one for the comedy side when you're looking at the competition that's in the drama side.
Okay, but have you actually read, like, I'm looking on Wikipedia and what it says what this movie's about. Did you read that?
A little briefly.
Yeah. A movie about a woman being infamous for the 23-year-long relationship with her husband, which began when he was just 13 years old. That doesn't sound funny. That sounds very...
That sounds like a movie that could have a lot of humor in it, potentially.
I guess. I mean, if you want to play a fish out of water where a 13-year-old doesn't know the understandings of having an adult relationship, sure. But
are both individuals 13 when their relationship starts?
It sounds like it was just him. So she was 36 and she was caught having sex with him when he was 13.
Yeah, that sounds awful. Anyway.
That doesn't sound like a comedy. Unless we're doing the whole thing that we all did when we were younger. We can all admit to it that, like, hey, a teacher was having sex with this student. And we're like, oh, what a cool teacher. No, that's terrible.
It's wrong. It's awful. For this one, I definitely see like Air actually hitting like the Oscar list, but I think this one, there's a lot of talk obviously about Barbie. Can Barbie pull out any crazy awards? I don't know if Barbie gets this one because I can see like something like an American Fiction getting it, or there's talk right now about Poor Things. I don't know if Poor Things gets that award or not, but we'll see.
So again, as we've stated, whenever we do these in years past, we've always stated that at this point when these nominations come out, there's a lot of these movies that we haven't seen. By the time the actual Golden Globes, the actual award show airs, we will probably have seen a lot more. And then definitely by the time the Oscar nominations come out and the Oscar awards themselves, I like to see almost all the movies that are nominated for Best Picture at least. So
I won't say that we'll have watched a lot more by January 7th, but maybe a couple more.
Yeah. Again, this is why I like award season, because it's starting to point and focus what I need to watch.
Yeah.
As someone who likes to talk about movies, these are the ones that are getting the light shown upon them. I want to see Godzilla minus one.
Yeah.
I want to see this so bad. Everybody I know has said this movie is phenomenal and it's a low budget and they did an amazing job. I desperately want to see this movie. I just don't have the money for it right now, unfortunately. By the way, streamlabs.com/cinefanatics or patreon.com/cinefanatics. Help me see this Godzilla movie. That sounds so weird. Like, that's something I understand YouTubers can say, but I still feel weird saying that.
Yeah.
Anyways, so for this particular category, I agree. I don't know if Barbie as a Best Picture is going to win an award like this. I think it has a good message. It is a serious enough movie to be taken seriously. But I think it's still campy enough that I don't know if it's going to be respected on that kind of level like a lot of these other movies.
For the Globes, maybe. I don't know. Oscars, probably not. But for the Globes, maybe. And I wouldn't complain if it happened.
So for this category, both of us, again, we've both only seen 2 movies from this category, Barbie and Air, and I would absolutely 100% push for Air. I loved Air. In fact, don't be surprised if you see Air pretty close to the top of my favorites for this year, because I've already seen that movie multiple times this year, and I love it.
Ooh,
I love the way it's made, done, acted, scripted, everything. Just, it's perfect.
Absolutely prefer Barbie over Air for this, but that's neither here nor Air.
Good one. I do want to see The Holdovers. I've heard that's gotten a lot of good reviews. And Poor Things, I've liked Yorgos Lanthimos. Although the subject matter of Poor Things seems a bit questionable. I am the type that I want to see this movie and see exactly what it does, and then reserve that judgment for my opinion.
Right.
So, William Harold, the patriarchy won't let Barbie win. Here's the thing. That's very realistic. Anyway, so that's for musical and comedy. Animated. Here's another one that the entire internet film Twitter has just torn apart. So for animated, we got The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Super Mario Brothers movie, Suzume, and Wish. We are missing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, and Nimona. Nimona was, as y'all may recall, this was a movie that when we started the challenge early, a month ago or so, Nimona was one of the ones that was challenged to me. I watched it and I completely understand why it should be on this list, but for some freaking reason, it's not. And then Wish. Why is Wish on here? Because I've seen nothing but people trashing Wish.
That's the biggest thing. It's just because it's a more classically done Disney animated movie in terms of they're kind of mixing and meshing their style of old with the newer style. And Disney does what Disney does. They push for their movies to be in the award. Like Nerd just said, Disney Autonom. That's why. I could see
that for Elemental, but
I could see a world where Nimona and what's the other movie that people are talking about animated wise should have been in here? Oh, the Ninja Turtles. I could see a world where you would replace Wish and the Super Mario Brothers movie for those two. Because as much as I love the Super Mario Brothers movie, I thought it was great. As far as an animated movie goes, it doesn't break any new ground, and it doesn't break the ground that a lot of people would say like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles does or that Nimona does. So I personally like the Super Mario Brothers movie more than the Ninja Turtle movie, but I understand why people would argue. At least on the animation front, the animation in the Ninja Turtle movie is pretty up there in terms of its cool style.
So real quick, Nerd, God bless you.
Yeah.
We got a Streamlabs in from Commentating Nerd saying both of you go see Godzilla -1. Thank you, sir. Very much appreciate that.
When to do that.
Sunday.
Maybe.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I really want to see this Godzilla movie. And I'm not like a Godzilla fan. I haven't been a huge fan of what's the ones that are out now? The Monsterverse, or where do they the Monarch movies, whatever. But because of everybody I know of have all said nothing but amazing things of Godzilla -1. I really want to see that. And on the big screen would be phenomenal. But even though animated, I feel like dropped the ball on Nimona and Ninja Turtles, I still believe Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is probably going to take that, no matter what else the other nominations are.
Yeah.
Moving on. So we got the non-English language. There's Anatomy of a Fall, Fallen Leaves, Io Capitano from Italy.
We don't speak languages other than English, so let's move on.
Maybe un poquito español.
We're not gonna be able to comment on that.
Yeah, Here's the thing, like foreign language movies, at least as far as the Oscars, they've been more and more prevalent, and I've enjoyed a lot of them lately. What was it, like Parasite won Best Picture? Was it last year or the year before? There was that one that was like My Car or Drive My Car, something like that. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it, but not enough to accurately remember the title. But this one, so there's a new category with the Golden Globes this year, and this one's kind of strange: cinematic and box office achievement. So we're honoring the movies that made the most amount of money in the box office. Why wouldn't you just give the award to the movie that made the most instead of making a list of movies to nominate?
They're trying to highlight the movies that are the pop culture. These are the movies that everybody knows about and went to go see over something that's a little bit more drama fueled, like a Past Lives or a Holdovers or something like that.
I guess, yeah, because I mean, almost every movie that's on here we've actually seen over the course of this past year, with the exception of one.
These are the movies that get the buzz. These are the movies that get all the buzz amongst all of the people, not just the film people.
This is their way to say, like, hey, we know that we're nominating a bunch of like hoity-toity, dramatic, theatrical, critic-focused type movies that the general public either has never heard of or doesn't know or doesn't care. Let's honor the movies that you, the general public, do know about, that very likely you have seen and that you actually care about. So I feel like this is a category that is made in an effort to keep the Golden Globes relevant. Nominations in this, we got Barbie, Guardians Volume 3, John Wick 4, Mission Impossible, Oppenheimer, Across the Spider-Verse, Super Mario Brothers, and of course, no 2023 would be complete without Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour. In all honesty, this is probably going to be the category that Barbie would take it. General public, yeah.
More than likely. I mean, it's hard to determine because I don't right now, without hearing them explain it, I really don't know what the determining factor of this is. Are we looking for the best picture? Are we looking for the movie that performed box office wise the best in ratio to its budget? Are we looking for the one that generated the most buzz throughout the year? Like, I don't know what's the criteria for winning this award, but if we're looking at which of these movies is the best movie, I will say that my top two are on this list. Across the Spider-Verse and Barbie are on this list in that order. So if we're looking for what I consider the best movie, it's one of those two to win this for me. So
yeah. Real quick, so I was wanting to say, like, I wanted to reference the Critics' Choice. Real quick, I want to drop back to the Best Animated Feature. The Critics' Choice Awards did actually nominate both Nimona and Ninja Turtles for Best Animated. It looks like they dropped, was it Suzume? Suzume's not a part of it, but Wish still is. So
interesting.
Yeah, there might be something that the critics saw that the general public did not. Who knows? Probably the critics. Anyways, yeah, I feel like Barbie's probably a shoe-in for that, just because it is Barbie is the highest grossing movie of the year, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that would make sense. Let's get into the actors real quick. Again, we haven't seen a lot of these movies, so opinions are going to be very, very slim. Actors, we got Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Leo DiCaprio for Killers of the Flower Moon, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, Barry Keoghan for Saltburn, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, and Andrew Scott for All of Us Strangers. I've seen two of these movies, and I will, out of everyone, even the movies I haven't seen, I'm still going to push for Cillian Murphy from Oppenheimer.
Yep. Yeah, I think Cillian Murphy is... Oppenheimer is gonna sweep pretty much this award season. Expecting.
Yeah,
including Cillian Murphy in the lead, and obviously we'll get to supporting actor here in a second.
Mm-hmm. For actress, so these are all for drama movies. I forgot Golden Globes does that. For drama actress, we got Annette Bening for Naiad, Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall, Greta Lee for Past Lives, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, and Kaylee Spaney for Priscilla. I said this earlier. I'm going to push for Lily Gladstone. Lily Gladstone did a phenomenal job in Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah, there's a lot of buzz around her. I would imagine that it's probably her. Carey Mulligan, I think, is one that you just never count out because I think she comes in and gets the nomination quite often. And of course, you've got Greta Lee with Past Lives. I mean, again, hearing the buzz that Past Lives has gotten amongst the film community, it'll be very interesting to see someone like her kind of take it too.
Yeah. So we got Best Performance, Musical or Comedy Actor. You got Nicolas Cage from Dream Scenario, Timothy Chalamet for Wonka, Matt Damon from Air, Paul Giamatti from The Holdovers, Joaquin Phoenix for Beau is Afraid, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen 2 of these movies. I've seen Air and Dream Scenario. I love Nicolas Cage in Dream Scenario. I think he did a phenomenal job in that role. And as I said before, I absolutely love Air. I think Matt Damon did especially well in that movie, given the character of Sonny Vaccaro and everything he has to do in the confines of that movie. I will say I've heard a lot of buzz about Paul Giamatti from The Holdovers and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. So I don't know. I would, based off of what I've seen from those movies, I would push for Matt Damon. But I mean, I would honestly say, given the character that Nicolas Cage plays in Dream Scenario, I would have Nicolas Cage slightly below Matt Damon. But again, as we continue watching some of these movies as time goes on, that might change. And I hope it does, because I love it when it does. It's so much fun. No other opinions from you, or?
I mean, Joaquin Phoenix get a lot of buzz on always. The rest of this, like
for Napoleon.
Yeah, the rest of this, I don't. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna see Wonka. We're gonna see how much Timothy Chalamet does in that movie. But I mean, I have a really hard time with this list.
We've seen the trailer so far, and it looks like he is doing his own take on Wonka, and he's not necessarily copying at least the Gene Wilder version. The Johnny Depp version is just way too out there for us to assume he may be copying, but I would assume he's closer to the Gene Wilder Wonka than Johnny Depp.
Yeah. I wouldn't be mad to see Jeffrey Wright take an award either, because I like that guy.
For actresses, we've got Fantasia Barrino for The Color Purple, which I absolutely love whenever we see someone from like American Idol get nominated for an Oscar award, like we saw, was it Jennifer Hudson for Dreamgirls?
Mm-hmm.
I love that. It's amazing to see someone come from nothing, go to American Idol, and then they end up just killing it in acting and movie roles.
Yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence for No Hard Feelings.
That's an interesting one to put on this list.
No Hard Feelings. I thought it was actually pretty good. I thought it was decent, but that's not the type of movie that gets award nominations.
That feels like a standard like rom-com type movie, right?
Yeah, like it's rom-com mixed with like a sex comedy. Like what's the movies that were like no strings attached, friends with benefits? It's like one of those movies. You wouldn't expect to see those get nominated for awards, so it's kind of weird that this one's in here. Even though, like, yes, Jennifer Lawrence did a good job in that movie, I don't know why it's worthy of a nomination though. So weird.
It's interesting.
Natalie Portman for May December, Alma Poisty for Fallen Leaves. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Margot Robbie for Barbie, and Emma Stone for Poor Things.
Hey, look, I like Margot Robbie as Barbie. I do, but if you told me that like Fantasia Barrino wins this, based on what I've seen from the trailer, obviously we haven't seen the movie yet, I wouldn't be shocked.
And I wouldn't count out the fact that there's a lot of buzz around Emma Stone and Poor Things. And what I do know of that movie, it sounds like that would be a very, very major stretch of acting to portray that particular character. So yeah, I wouldn't put it past her to just do a phenomenal job in that movie.
Yeah.
Best supporting actor, we've got Willem Dafoe for Poor Things, Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling for Barbie, Charles Melton for May December, and Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things. I will say it's probably very likely going to go to Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer.
Yeah. Listen, you might want a Ryan Gosling win here, but I think Downey Jr. is probably, again, Oppenheimer's got the sweep on this, and that's not to say like Willem Dafoe doesn't look like he does an incredible job in Poor Things. But I don't know. You just saw Killers of the Flower Moon, so you could speak to like Robert De Niro, but
I would not put Ryan Gosling above Robert De Niro or Robert Downey Jr. This is the year for Roberts. Just saying. No bias. No, absolutely no bias whatsoever. No relation. We share a first name only.
This just in, Ryan Gosling changed his name to Robert Gosling.
That wouldn't surprise me. Hey, I want to be one of these Roberts also. Apparently, Roberts are cool people that run successful YouTube channels. I would give it to Downey Jr. for that. Supporting actress, we got Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple, Jodie Foster for Naiad, Julianne Moore for May December, Rosamund Pike for Saltburn, and Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers. I mean, we've only seen one of these movies, so I feel like we would have to go with Emily Blunt. Although I feel like Emily Blunt's role in Oppenheimer was really small, and she was very intoxicated throughout most of that movie. So
there is one scene that I think nets her the win here,
where she takes the stand, basically.
Yeah,
she gives her testimony.
Yeah. That scene I think gives Emily Blunt the win on this. And again, not without seeing The Color Purple, don't know how Danielle Brooks does in that. Obviously not seeing the rest of these movies, don't know how they all do. But
so I know Danielle Brooks from primarily from Orange Is the New Black, and her character in that she was really good. So she has that potential to do something very outstanding. Last thing I saw her in, though, was Peacemaker. Not saying that I'm judging her based on her acting roles, but she's better than, say, a comic book TV show. Not saying it's bad either. I enjoyed Peacemaker and her character, but yeah. Anyways, the rest of these, we got Best Director. You got Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Greta Gerwig for Barbie, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Martin Scorsese, Killers of the Flower Moon, and Celine Song for Past Lives. I feel like this category is easily going to go to Nolan, with Scorsese right behind him.
It's Nolan's year. And I think you give it to Oppenheimer, which sucks, and I'll tell you why it sucks. I love Christopher Nolan. I think he absolutely should get an award, and I think Oppenheimer is a great movie to give it to him on. First of all, I know he's not old enough yet to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award, but man, his lifetime has achieved some things already.
He's going to get it as long as we all ignore Tenet.
Yeah. Tenet's fine. Anyway, the other thing is that the reason why I say this sucks is because I would love to see Greta Gerwig so much get directing. I would love to see Greta Gerwig get directing for Barbie. That would be absolutely wonderful to see, but I don't think it beats out Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer here. As much as I put Barbie above Oppenheimer on my personal list, I just, being reasonable and looking at it from the bigger picture, I just don't see Nolan losing awards this year, really. So again, this is Golden Globes. This isn't Oscars. We get to Oscars, we talk about the seriousness of it, but
yeah. The difference here between the Golden Globes and the Critics' Choice is Critics' Choice Awards for director has Alexander Payne for The Holdovers, while Golden Globes does not have Holdovers on here. Yeah. They have Celine Song for Past Lives. So we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah.
Let's see. Best screenplay, you got Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach for Barbie, Tony McNamara for Poor Things, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Eric Roth and Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, Celine Song for Past Lives, and Justine Triet and Arthur Harari for Anatomy of a Fall. Here's the one category out of all those like powerhouse movies that are in there. This would be probably the category that I would probably lean and give it more to Barbie than I would Oppenheimer.
Possibly.
Because you got the dynamic, the powerhouse dynamic now of Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach in there. I would edge out that screenplay a little bit more than I would Oppenheimer. And also, of course, going off of the idea that Oppenheimer is based off of reality, an actual event that did happen, while Barbie is completely fictional. Me personally, I would like to lean more towards fictional because I feel like that was a lot harder to come up with, to design that screenplay and what people would say at what point versus something that actually did happen in real life. We've got records of how
you have a foundation to work off of.
Yeah, we know how everything at Los Alamos went, like everything there. So yeah, I would lean more towards something that is based off of like fiction.
The reason why I would put Barbie high up on this isn't just because I like the movie. It's because they took something that is a previous IP like Barbie and were actually able to turn it into a very creative, original story that doesn't fit within the confines of what you would traditionally think an IP movie or an IP being turned into a movie would go to. Like if you think Barbie movie, typically you're thinking it's looking like one of the animated Barbie movies. It's like Swan Princess or Mermaids in Fairyland or something like that. That's what you think of when you think of like what a Barbie movie could be. But what Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach did is took that movie and turned it into something completely new, different, and original. We know Barbie's a toy, but she's coming into the real world. Even though in the real world she's a toy, she exists in the real world, but she's a toy. But then they're doing the whole like using it all as a metaphor and stuff. It's completely different what they did with that, and I think there's a lot of achievement within that I think nets in the screenplay over a lot of these others.
Yeah. Moving on, best original score, Jerskin Fendrix for Poor Things, Ludwig Göransson for Oppenheimer, Joe Hisaishi for The Boy and the Heron. Again, I apologize for mispronouncing. Micah Levi for The Zone of Interest, Daniel Pemberton for Across the Spider-Verse, and Robbie Robertson for Killers of the Flower Moon, which that one is a posthumous nomination. So unfortunately, yeah, Robbie Robertson passed away August 9th of this year at the age of 80.
Wow.
So he scored an entire 3.5 hour long Scorsese movie in his late 70s. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's impressive.
This one's going to be kind of hard, mainly because I'm not necessarily the type of person that is focused on the score right away. Like I'll pick up on the score like upon rewatches, but it's not one of the first things that attracts me unless the score is just absolutely outstanding. It's not something I tend to focus on when I'm watching a movie. I'm too busy trying to figure out the story and learn who the characters are. That being said, I do like the fact that Ludwig Göransson is nominated for Oppenheimer because we typically get Hans Zimmer doing Nolan movies. So,
and from the buzz that I'm hearing, I would say that he's probably the front runner here. But
he's the biggest name out of all of them.
Yeah, it remains to be seen kind of the buzz that these others generate. But I think for right now, I'm hearing, Ludwig is the front runner here.
Yeah. And then we've got Best Original Song. You got Addicted to Romance by Bruce Springsteen.
This is a great list.
From She Came to Me. Yeah. We got a lot to joke about with this list. Dance the Night from Mark Ronson from Barbie. I'm Just Ken from Mark Ronson from Barbie, Peaches by Jack Black for a Super Mario Brothers movie, Road to Freedom by Lenny Kravitz for Rustin, and What Was I Made For by I guess that's Billie Eilish.
Yeah, so there's
for Barbie.
There's also other names on these lists too, but we're just mentioning like the first kind of lead name here. Obviously, Dance of the Night was a Dua Lipa song, but
was that Dua Lipa? Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I was trying to go with like who I think is actually the performer of the song.
The performer of that is Dua Lipa, but Mark Ronson is the producer for pretty much all of the Barbie music, I believe.
Yeah, I'm Just Ken was done by Ryan Gosling, so yeah.
This is a big one because What Was I Made For, I'm Just Ken, and Dance the Night, all three being from Barbie, and Barbie having 3 songs on this list.
Odds are Barbie's going to win this.
The odds are heavily in Barbie's favor. I mean, obviously Peaches has a big pop culture iconography to it now, with Jack Black being attached to it. I wouldn't be able to tell you about Road to Freedom or Addicted to Romance.
Yeah.
But odds are that it's one of these Barbie songs. I wouldn't be surprised to see What Was I Made For being the one that takes any awards for Barbie here. As much as I would love to say I'm Just Ken get something in any of these, you can't doubt Billie Eilish in this situation. She's won awards before for her music in movies and stuff, and she's very much well on her way. I know Golden Globes isn't a part of this, but she's very much well on her way to an EGOT at a very young age already. So,
yeah. Anyways, so yeah, other than what I've mentioned, the Critics' Choice, there's a couple of differences in here. I know like one of the ones that I'm really a big fan of is they have a category Best Young Actor, Actress. One of the nominations for that, you got Abby Ryder Forston for Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. You may also know her as, what was the character's name besides Peanut? She was Scott Lang's daughter in the Ant-Man movies up until they aged her up. So the first 2 Ant-Man movies, essentially. Then you've also got Ariana Greenblatt in Barbie, who, if you're not familiar with Ariana Greenblatt by now, you're about to be. She has done 3 powerhouse roles so far.
Small and, small in one of them, and then the other one's kind of growing.
She was young Gamora in Infinity War. She had this role in Barbie, and then she earlier back in August, she played the young Ahsoka in flashbacks to the Clone Wars in live action in the Ahsoka TV show, which was absolutely amazing. So that is. There was one other one as well. Oh yeah, Madeline Una Voiles, which she is someone that I immediately called out after watching The Creator. She's the little girl in that.
Yeah,
the main focus of
the one that's featured in the trailers.
Yeah, and she does phenomenal in that movie. So we'll watch her career with great interest. Yeah.
That's a Star Wars reference.
Otherwise, yeah, there's stuff like they do cinematography and editing, costume production. I feel like I want to talk about those kind of categories as we get closer to the Oscars and the Academy, because that's the ones that they really focus and honor those. So, otherwise, yeah, that's it for the nominations for the Golden Globes right now. We'll see how this goes. Again, love the fact that now we've got to focus on what movies we should watch. And again, that's another thing I want to focus on, at least for like the next week or probably even the next month. I want to catch up on some of these movies so I can better speak on these nominations. So when we revisit this again, the Golden Globes is what you said it was January 7th.
Yes.
So I hope to get like a lot more of these movies watched by then. So when those awards come out, we're not going to do like a live stream watch along with the Golden Globes like we typically do with the Oscars. But we will very likely talk about those in some form or fashion afterwards. So we'll see. But anyways, that is going to do it for the tagline tonight. Those of y'all that are a part of our Patreon, we are doing movie trivia here in about 30 minutes or so, give or take a couple of minutes. So hop over to the Discord, our channel on the Discord. If you are at the $5 tier, come join us. If you're not, sign up, patreon.com/cinefanatics. Bring your brain, and we're going to play some movie trivia. It's a lot of fun. So come join us for that. Otherwise, yeah, to recap, we got movie trivia tonight on Patreon. The 27th will be the movie watch along. That's going to be 8 Pacific, 11 Central. Upcoming shows. So this coming Friday, we do have The Marquee, where we'll be tier ranking live holiday specials. So these movies, quote unquote movies, this is one of the few times that we actually will be talking about TV instead of movies, because I kind of consider a lot of these specials movies in their own right anyway. So
shorter movies, but yeah.
Shorter movies, but yeah, I've always, like, ever since a kid, I've always appreciated watching these every year during the Christmas holiday. So we'll be tier ranking these. Hopefully we're not going to destroy your childhood too much with these, but yeah, watch those holiday specials. Hop on the Patreon to see the full list, because there's a lot of ones that are not shown here in the thumbnail. And then come join us live this Friday. That's going to be 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern, right here. And you get to vote on your pick as well. Otherwise, yeah, I think that's it for what we have coming up. Wonka review should be up probably late Saturday evening. Sunday, I'll have a Wonka ranking on the YouTube short, also over on the TikTok. Make sure you follow us on social media at the Cinefanatics on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. TikTok's been doing pretty well for us so far. I'm very happy we decided to get into the TikTok game.
TikTok.
So yeah, come follow us all those places. If you are on TikTok, please help us out. Follow us. Even if you don't watch the videos, at least come follow us, because we're still like in the infancy stage on TikTok and we need to build that following. So yeah, just follow, subscribe, whatever they call it on the TikToks. Come do that. Otherwise, you can follow me at Robert Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Also, youtube.com/@RobertAdamsMLP.
And you can follow me at Chris Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, as well as twitch.tv/Chris Adams MLP. I don't know how much of that I slurred through, but I think you got the gist.
Anyways, we very much appreciate everyone who's watching this live. Thank you for being here and participating. It means the world to us. If you are watching this on a replay, we appreciate you watching it on a replay as well. Let us know your thoughts, feelings, and opinions down below in the comments. Whether you're watching it on a replay or live, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. We are closing in on 2,000 subscribers. Help us get there before the end of this month, before the end of 2023. So we would very much appreciate that. Otherwise, thank you for watching. We appreciate you being here. We will see you later. A good night.